vows often. Now you may think, well, how do I renew my marriage vows often? Well, that means as you build your marriage, you build it on this commitment, not love. You've heard many times of people having accidents or illnesses where oftentimes our outer selves change. As we get older, we change. Many things come that change how we love. But that should not affect the love and commitment that you have for one another. So as your marriage is built on this commitment, and not just on the attraction that you have for one another, this will succeed, will carry throughout your lives. I would suggest that you talk about it often and say, hey, we recommit ourselves to the marriage vows that we have made, because that is a very important thing in your life. And ask yourself the question, am I dedicated to the marriage, and what do I have to do to make it work? Now that you've built on this commitment, the second is to continue your courtship. You've been courting for, I'm not sure how long, for a while anyway. You've been dating. The important thing about a marriage is that now that you're taking the marriage vows, is that should continue, maybe even more so than it has before. And why do I say that? I'll tell you one thing that they told me when I was put in as bishop, and that was, the stake president said, take your wife out on a date every single week. And you know why he said that? That's important, because sometimes we get so caught up in our daily lives that we forget that we need to spend time together. So I would challenge you, Lamar, to take your wife out every week on a date. Do something special together, and renew those commitments that you have made with each other. Compliment each other, build one another up. Never, ever, ever tear one another down. I've been at situations at work where I'll talk to people and I'll hear people tearing down their spouse, saying things that I just cringe, and I think, how can they say something like that about someone that they love? Never allow yourself to say something derogatory or negative about your spouse, and you'll find that it will work wonders for your marriage. You say something negative and it takes a long time for someone to forget that. Third, take more time together. Now you're going to hear a new spelling for love. A lot of people think it's spelled L-O-V-E, but I'm going to tell you that love is spelled T-I-M-E. Okay? Love means spending time together. It's like your car, and I'm sure all of us can relate to this a little bit. Cars seem to always have problems. I mean, they don't always run smoothly. Now, if you start having a problem with your car, and you neglect that and say, well, I'll just keep driving it, sooner or later you're going to get in a situation where it breaks down completely and you're not going to be able to fix it. If you take time together and start noticing that you're having problems in your marriage, if you stop right there and get those problems resolved, then they will not build up to a point where you'll have to buy another car. Fourth, covenant to communicate. I heard some statistics once about marriages, and it said 90% of marriage difficulties come from lack of communication. Now that's a pretty high percentage. And the other 10%, communication is directly or indirectly responsible. Communication is one of the hardest things to make sure we take care of in a marriage. I always like to liken it. The Lord gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth. We ought to listen twice as much as we talk. If you'll do that in your marriage, I think you'll be successful. Another thing that the church advocates, and that is never go to bed angry. If you do, you give the devil a chance to do his work. Work it out before you go to sleep. If you do that every single day, I can guarantee your marriage will be a success, because you'll never have the opportunity to let problems fester and cause a problem in your lives. Number 5, stop trying to change each other. It never works. I can guarantee you that. First, try to change yourself. If you work on changing yourself, I can guarantee you that you'll be able to change someone else, because they will see that and they will use that as an incentive to change themselves. 6, be great in little things. Give you a couple of examples in that. Family had a TV in their living room, as most of us do. Couldn't get it to work. Turned it on, nothing happened. They banged it, kicked it around, couldn't get it to work. They called the repairman in. He came in and found out that the plug was out of the socket. It costs about, I don't know if you've had a repairman come in, but it's not cheap. That's being great in little things. Check the little things first. Let me give you another example. This was a $75,000 price tag all over a misplaced comma in an order. The company got an opportunity to get a bid for some orders for $75,000. Boss told the person who was responding to that, said, tell them no, that the price is too high. So instead of putting no, comma, price too high, the person writing the letter put no price too high and sent the letter back. And I got the order that cost him $75,000. Be great in little things, and that means things like thank you, excuse me, little kisses. Sometimes when you come home, open the door and rush in, grab her and give her a great big kiss. I'm sure she'll appreciate that. Let me help you, open the door. Little things like that is what makes a marriage live, so don't overlook those. Number 7, covenant on finances. I don't know if either of you have had trouble with finances. I know a lot of people do. Another statistic, 50% of couples have severe struggles over finances. That's a high percentage. Commit to live within your income. Don't do like some people that says, we have checks, we must have money, and we spend. So keep an accurate account of your money and the way it's spent, and you'll have a much easier time in your marriage. Lastly, I want to just mention a couple of things about keeping the marriage strong, and that's to make it a triangle. You have you two and your Father in heaven. This is one of the most important keys. Put God in your marriage. You find He's going to be mentioned in the ceremony. Keep Him in the marriage. Communicate with Him. I had the opportunity to talk with you a little bit before about making commitments now. That means family and individual prayer. You've probably all heard the saying, if you pray together, you stay together. Okay, it comes back to communication again. Holding family home evenings, attending church, paying tithing, attending the temple. Don't let yourself say, well, we'll start tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. And keep the habit of improvement in your life. President Kimball gave a statement that meant a lot to me, where he said that if we were all to write down the things that we do wrong, we'd have a great big long list, and we'd all get so discouraged that we'd just give up and quit. I don't know if your life is like that. Probably you two are perfect, and that doesn't make any sense. But he said, if you'll take one thing at a time and work on it and perfect that thing, and then get the habit of improving through that method, then you will make it back into His presence. That's a thought that's always stuck with me, because the important thing about that is you're getting the habit of success, and anyone can do one thing at a time. So I just challenge you to keep the Lord in your marriage, make the proper commitments now, the things that you're going to do to make the marriage strong. And I challenge you to do that, and know that if you do, that your marriage will be a success. I kept it down under an hour. Looks like our little ribbon here has got untied. That's one of the favorite ladies here. Then we'll do this thing.
Another knot?
Thank you. Okay, let's see. I'll kind of do the same thing so everyone can see how we go through this ceremony. Okay, right after we get done with the ceremony, we're going to do the ring exchanging and that kind of thing, so we'll give you an opportunity to take pictures. While we're going through the actual ceremony, we'd ask you to wait till we get finished. Okay, on the right page here. Lamar and Raeann, would you please take each other by the right hand? Lamar D. Peterson, do you take Raeann Hanson Cupfer by the right hand in token of the covenant you now enter into to become her companion and husband, to love, honor, and cherish her as long as you both shall live? And do you hereby promise to observe all the laws, covenants, and obligations pertaining to the holy state of matrimony, and this you do of your own free will and choice, in the presence of God and these witnesses?
I do.
Raeann Hanson Cupfer, do you take Lamar D. Peterson by the right hand in token of the covenant you now enter into to become his companion and wife, to love, honor, and cherish him as long as you both shall live? And do you hereby promise to observe all the laws, covenants, and obligations pertaining to the holy state of matrimony, and this you do of your own free will and choice in the presence of God and these witnesses?
I do.
By virtue of the legal authority vested in me as an elder of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I pronounce you Lamar D. Peterson and Raeann Hanson Cupfer, husband and wife, legally and lawfully wedded for the period of your mortal lives. May God bless your union with joy in your posterity and a long life of happiness together. And may He enable you to keep sacred the covenants that you now have made. These blessings I invoke upon you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. You may now kiss each other as husband and wife. That brings the exchange. This is the time to do that, and I'm going to give Raeann the deed to Lamar. The women always get that. They keep track of it a lot better than men do. I'll get out of the way here.
Sit down for a minute.
There's his brother.
You have to stand up while everybody files around.
Oh, there's somebody I know. There's somebody else over there I know.
This person here is a hose monster.
My sister
One touch his head. So this is a psychotic little kid in a red dress.
soldiers all over with big guns, watching every move you make.
Unfortunately.